Class 3 in the BullyProof series, the comeback, wit. I love this. This is great. Wit is no more. It's no more than simply listening to what somebody says and taking that word and flipping it around to the idea. Just like we talked in the first class on how do you make things funny, you have to listen. You have to hear the words, either make what they say so absurd that it's funny to back, flip around a word, or exaggerate what they say. And you got to say something back to people when they say it. You remember in the last class when the guy said to my mom, "You're fat enough already," and she said something back to him, "Oh, is that what it is? I thought I'd been pregnant." When you say something back to these people, it's very important that you say something back. I know this has happened to you. It's happened to all of us. Somebody will say something to you, you go, "That's rude," or "I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to lower myself." And you walk off. And then about 5-10 minutes later, maybe a day later, you think, "Man, you know what I should have said?" You know why that happens? At that moment, we give in to emotions. We give in to, "You hurt me, I'm mad, I'm scared," something happens. And we don't hear what they say. When you hear what they say and you keep your cool, when you act on what they say, that's how you come back. It comes with practice. Did you grow up in a smart aleck family? I grew up in a very smart aleck family. I eventually, as a kid, learned how to listen to words and listen to what people say and flip it around and have fun with it. If you don't do that, or you just walk away and ignore it, and you don't really ignore it, and it bugs you, your whole self-esteem is going in the cosmic sewer. That's why you have to stand up to these people. But that's another class. Let's talk about wit in the comeback. Okay, you have to listen to what they say. Remember Brenda Starr, the flight attendant that said, "Oh, I thought my hair was coming in quite good after chemo"? Brenda Starr taught me this. And again, this is one of those things people make up and lie and put on the internet. But this happened to Brenda Starr. This is wit. She's working first class again as a flight attendant for Delta. And she goes up to a gentleman sitting. She goes, "Sir, we're serving dinner tonight. Would you like dinner?" And he said, "What are my choices?" And she said, "Yes or no." Here's another one. Calvin Coolidge, former president of the United States. I'm not sure exactly when he served. It was a while back. But he was known to be very brief. He never said many words at all when he spoke. And a woman came up to him at a party and said, "Sir, Mr. President, I have a bet, a $100 bet, that I can make you say at least 3 words." And he looks at her and says, "You lose." Now, you can have fun with the comebacks and still be clever and still be witty. Jimmy Valvano, they called him Jimmy V, coach in North Carolina State years ago. He was coaching the game, basketball game, and in the college, all the coaches and all the refs all know each other. Well, Jimmy doesn't like the way the refs calling the game, and he's yelling at him and screaming. The ref calls the timeout and goes, "Jimmy, I'm sick of your mouth tonight. One more word out of you, I'm kicking you out of the game, and your team's getting a technical foul, and then sit down." Jimmy sits down. Now he's more mad than ever, and the ref's still calling a bad game. Jimmy calls a timeout, calls the ref over and goes, "Let me ask you something. Am I going to get kicked out of this game for something I'm thinking?" And he goes, "Well, no." He goes, "Well, I think you suck tonight. How's that?" The ref starts laughing, gave him a technical foul, but didn't kick him out of the game. Why? Because he was laughing. Here's another great sports story, one of my favorite ones. I was lucky to find this story. One of the greatest wits of my generation of all times to me was Muhammad Ali. You could not shut him up. No matter what you said, he had a comeback, and he was fun, he was clean, he was clever. A flight attendant shut him up. He was on a flight, going to a fight, sitting up in first class, and she said, "Sir, you're going to have to put your seatbelt on. We're ready to take off now." And Ali says in that style that is only his, he said, "Superman don't need a seatbelt." And she said, "No, sir, Superman doesn't need an airplane. You need to put your seatbelt on so we can get out of here." I got one more for you. Good friend of mine, Jerry Bressel's a trial lawyer. He represents both men and women for divorce trials. This time he happened to be representing the man. During the proceedings, the judge is reading the separation agreement, and there's a typo. It says the husband wants all of the wife's clothes. It's supposed to read the husband wants all the husband's clothes, but it's a typo. So the judge is reading it, goes, "The husband wants all the wife's clothes." Now the attorney of the wife hears this and tries to capitalize on the mistake and stands up and goes, "You see what I mean, Your Honor? You see what I mean? This man is a cross-dresser, and she had to live with this perversion her entire life, which is why you ought to side with my client." He's just making this up, and give her everything she wants. And the guy looks at Jerry, the judge, and Jerry stands up and goes, "Your Honor, there's been a terrible mistake. We also need the shoes and the hats and the purses, because what's the point of having the clothes if you can't accessorize, Your Honor? The judge started laughing, and Jerry said, David, I swear I think he sided with me just because I got him to laugh. That's wit. That's the comeback. It's that simple, and it's that hard. You have to listen to what somebody says, be willing to flip it around and say back to them. The secret to all these things I told you, of all these people that said these things back, is they looked at them and smiled. Because I'll say it again and continue to say it. When that happens, there's something that happens between you and the other person that's unspoken but understood. I got what you said. I'm not intimidated by you. I can now thank you. I'm funnier than you, and you don't bother me. That person will leave you alone. It takes practice. It really does. But you can do it. Next class coming up, bullying, physical and verbally. How do you stop it? How do you prevent the hook from getting into you and bring you down emotionally? See you at the next class. Now think funny, start being witty, stay amused.